What's up, PTB Nation? Welcome to episode number 80 of Parking the Bus. This is the third episode this week, third episode in a row, third night in a row, I should say, of the Parking the Bus podcast coming to you right now. For those of you watching live on Twitter or on YouTube or at www.parkingthebusmedia.com. What's up, everybody? Glad to be back with you again for another night. We got some more footy to talk about, and I told you last night that you're going to have to check out my channel at Better Than Vegas to see if I was going to finally change my tune on Rangers. Those of you that did that I put up a short video this morning, you know that I did not change my tune on Rangers. But thanks to the wonderful technicality that occurs in sports betting, Rangers did it to me again. Now, I won 2 out of my 3 plays today, so I'm happy tonight. I am happy tonight. Ended up in the black. That's where I wanted to be today. However, I did take Frankurt on the money line, and Frankurt did not deliver on the money line. Frankurt win tonight. I tracked Frankurt win the Europa League in penalties. What a performance. What a game. I thought this was a fantastic match of football to watch. I have to tip my hat, though, to Rangers FC, the Glasgow Rangers, as many people call them. They really fought hard. That's why I knew both teams were going to score in this match, and I thought it was going to come in the second half. That ended up to pay dividends for me today with the bookmakers. Just a hard-fought match both ways. I think Frankfurt could have Eintracht Frankfurt could have ran away with it, to be perfectly honest. But in the end, it was Rangers who were closer to grabbing the late winner. And I have to say, how big was that save from Kevin Trapp? Less than 3 minutes from the end of extra time. That was absolutely the save of the match, probably the save of the season for Eintracht Frankfurt. As without that, they don't go on to win in penalties. They don't go on to lift the Europa League, the old UEFA Cup, a beautiful trophy. And now it's funny how a bad season turns into a good season overnight, because now Eintracht Frankfurt will be in next year's UEFA Champions League. This is a fantastic occurrence for them, for their fans. Okay, they are going to be welcomed home like the heroes that they are when that plane lands in Frankfurt, Germany, sometime late in the night tonight. Jermaine Jones was on CBS Sports on Paramount Plus, telling Poppy Miller and the rest of the crew, Nico Cantar, and of course a very sad Maurice Aidoo, those two former U.S. stars there, Jermaine Jones and Maurice Aidoo, each with a dog in the fight today. Jermaine Jones, longtime Frankfurt fan, former player of Eintracht, and of course Maurice Aidoo, a former Rangers player. But Jermaine did say that there would be at least 200,000 Eintracht fans at the Frankfurt airport waiting for the arrival of their heroes. Congratulations, of course, to Eintracht Frankfurt, especially to the manager. I mean, he put in such a good run in this tournament. He just played his cards correctly. It is not easy to get to the final, and to win in the UEFA Europa League. A lot of fans do not quite understand just how hard it is to win this competition. It takes an extra 2 rounds, first of all, in its current format, okay? You have to play a round of 32 and a round of 16. So for 4 weeks straight, you're playing midweek fixtures against tough competition. Eintracht Frankfurt had to go and eliminate Barcelona. We have forgotten that they took out a Barcelona team that was starting to fly. Everyone thought that Xavi had turned it around, that Barcelona were going to walk away with this competition. They were doing well in Spain at the time. They were on a win streak. And then magically, first at home at the Frankfurt Arena, Eintracht get the job done. And then at the Camp Nou, who can forget the scenes that night? Over 30,000 Eintracht fans in the Camp Nou. Barcelona's board completely pissed off about that. It's not hard to figure out how that happened. Your fans sold their tickets for profit. Your fans, Barcelona, supposedly the best fans in the world, made a quick dime on their tickets. They sold them for double, and they allowed all those German fans into the ground that night. And what a night that was for Frankfurt. And now it all culminates tonight in Spain again at the Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium in Seville, or Sevilla, as I say, tonight. And I don't know how many times the British commentators had to keep complaining that it was hot. They weren't even playing. They looked more bothered, but they sounded more bothered by the heat than the players even bothered by it. I mean, they were already building in excuses for Rangers. This is where I really start to have a gripe with British media. They have protected this team this entire way. Let's not forget, Rangers got through. They got through Braga with a very questionable red card, okay, at Ibrox. Not just a penalty, but it was double jeopardy. They gave a red card. They played over like 70 minutes against 10 men, and then in extra time, another red card that the referee did not have to give, putting Braga down to 9 men, and Rangers survive. And then they pull off, the upset that they pull off in the semifinals. Credit to them over Leipzig. But the entire way, this media, and this comes from the World Feed. Paramount Plus here in the United States is picking up the commentary from the World Feed. And these British commentators, whenever it's something that's going to be against Rangers, this has happened throughout the entire Europa League. When it's going to be a call against Rangers, they'll always say, oh, he's made a meal of it, not enough in there for it. If it's something that benefits them, oh, they are quickly on the, oh, yes, contact. They will say right away, there's the contact right there. Okay. Well, guess what? It didn't work. Rangers did not win the Europa League. Credit to them. The stadium was 3/4 Rangers fans. I mean, you could tell throughout the entire match that the Sanchez Pizjuan was 3/4 a sea of blue and then a white corner where everyone was wearing white shirts. And then during the trophy presentation, of course, there was all those empty seats because the Rangers fans had departed. Listen, all kidding aside, all seriousness, a job well done by Giovanni von Bronckhorst, okay, the manager for Rangers. He did a great job getting them this far. Like I said, they didn't even win their league this year. This was very much an overachievement for this side to get to this point, to compete for this trophy, for this elusive European trophy, but it was not meant to be. Thanks to Kevin Trapp by and large. Okay, let's get to the lineups. I'm going to pull them up right now, and we will start to get through this match. We'll start to dissect it a little bit. We'll talk about some of the different things I saw here. But it was, again, I like the Europa League final because I think it's a more open match. I think there was definitely some open play. Yes, the heat may have come into play later in the match, because the teams did start out at a very fast pace. The match started out at a very fast pace, and every 5 minutes we were being told how it was 32 degrees centigrade. Not sure off the top of my head what that is in Fahrenheit, but that's in the 80s somewhere. That's not something they're used to in especially in Scotland. They made a joke that the joke going in Scotland that the commentator said is that, it's amazing that summer falls on a Wednesday this year, he said, because they're just not used to that kind of weather. They continued to say that, it doesn't in Germany, but Germany can definitely get some high temperatures. You don't have to think back too far to remember World Cup 2006. I guess it's further away than it is in my mind, but you don't have to go back that far to remember. It was especially hot during that month in Germany. And we had heat last summer when matches were played at the Allianz Arena during Euro 2020. Again, just two teams that fought it out. And what I really liked about this final, before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, is as much as I joke about, Rangers ruining my bets week after week, and they ruined another chance to go undefeated today because they didn't get beat. They didn't get beat in regular time, so therefore I didn't cash in on the money line. But the Europa League, for me, means more and is a better final when it's clubs like this in it. I couldn't help but think throughout the match, okay, because that was a fantastic atmosphere. Two phenomenal sets of supporters supporting their teams to win a European trophy. You think if Barcelona were in that match, you would have had that atmosphere? I don't think so. It would have been just another game to them because they see themselves above that, and they see them, teams that are always competing in the final stages of the Champions League. And there's always one that falls into the Europa League because of the format. And I don't like the format. It has benefited my club in the past. We got to two finals in which we dropped from the Champions League. But I don't like the principle of coming in third in one competition and falling into a lower competition. I think the only teams that should be eligible to win the Europa League are the teams that start the competition in the Europa League. I don't agree with third place teams being bailed out with a spot in the lower tournament. I know why they do it. They do it to bring eyeballs to the competition. They do it to bring television revenue and to sell tickets to these smaller clubs, or to sell tickets and bring bigger profile matches to these smaller clubs that get into the round of 32, round of 16. This year it happened to be Barcelona. Last year it was Manchester United. Okay. There's always a big club. We've seen Manchester City fall in there before. We've seen Atletico Madrid drop and then win the competition. Not that long ago, we had Chelsea beat Arsenal in a final, and Chelsea, I believe, was the team that dropped into the Europa League final. The year my Benfica were in the final with Chelsea. Chelsea they were the reigning Champions League winners that dropped into the Europa League, got to the final, and ended up winning it. I don't like that. I don't like it on principle. I'm a purist at heart. I'm very nostalgic and traditionalist when it comes to my football, and I get why it's there, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I know that Rangers started the year in the Champions League qualifiers. I don't think they did not get to the group stage. They were knocked out in the pre-qualifiers for the Champions League proper. And I know that, but this match was better. These moments tonight were better because it was Frankfurt and Rangers. Would not have been the same if it were, say, Barcelona and, I don't know, Leipzig, or Barcelona and another team, that's normally a Champions League quarterfinalist. So it is what it is, but I think this was a special final. All right, I've got the stats in front of me. Let's look at the lineups first, okay? And for Eintracht Frankfurt and their manager Oliver Glasner, excuse me, he would send out a 3-4-2-1 formation. Kevin Trapp in goal. The three-man backline: Almani, Torre, Tuta, and Evan Ndika were the three across the back with the wingbacks. Ansgar Knopf and Filip Kostic. Kostic was very, very good in this match. Kostic was very important and instrumental in Frankfurt's play, in their ability to come away with this one. The double pivot in midfield: Jabril Sow and Sebastian Rode. Jabril Sow, we'll talk about him in a minute. He's going to be remembered for a not so good moment in this one, but we will get to that in a minute for him. The two attacking midfielders: Jesper Lindstrom and Daichi Kamada, I think is how they pronounced it. He was very good, Kamada. And they're sitting behind the Colombian striker, Rafael Santos Borre. Santos Borre, of course, former River Plate player, trying to add a Europa League medal to his trophy cabinet, which already features a Copa Libertadores winners medal. For Rangers, they're playing a traditional 4-3-3. Nothing to be surprised by. They're not going to try to play mind games with you in the lineup. Giovanni von Bronckhorst sends out Alan McGregor in goal. The four across the back: James Tavernier, I believe is how they pronounce it. I've always pronounced it Tavernier, but I hear them saying Tavernier. Connor Goldson, Calvin Bassey and Borna Barisic are the four across the back. Ryan Jack, he's the one that had the chance there late. No, sorry, he was not the one who blew the chance late. I will get to him. But the center mid was Ryan Jack. He's got John Lundstrom to his right and Glenn Kamara to his left. The three in attack, anchored by the striker Joe Aribo. The goal scorer today was Joe Aribo. To his left, Ryan Kent. He is the one that missed the sitter. He didn't miss it. He just hit Kevin Trapp in the leg, but Kevin Trapp got himself in good position. The ball came across the face of goal, and it would have won the cup for Rangers. And Scott Wright is the right-sided midfielder. All right, we'll go through the ticker really quickly here and take a look at how this one played out. And like I said, it started out at a pretty high pace, in my opinion. I thought the two teams were really going after it. Rangers getting a lot of the possession early, but Eintracht Frankfurt getting a lot of the opportunities early. They were really creating better chances on fewer possession. They were holding in a little bit and then finding that space and finding that counter. And when they went forward with a purpose. When they possessed, it was with purpose. Already in the second minute, Knopf whips across into the box that travels all the way through to Kostic. He fires a low shot. He fires a low cross back across the middle, but Jack was there to clear it from the Rangers box. Fourth minute, Wright turns away from his man in the Frankfurt half and tries to release Aribo in the final third. The forward gets past one defender, but Tuta reacts to clear it into touch before Wright can threaten. Tavernier has space down the right flank in the fifth to whip across into the box, but he overhits the delivery and it travels away from the penalty area and out the other side of the pitch. Moving ahead a little bit, a chance in the 12th minute. It's Kamada. He breaks into the box down the inside left channel where McGregor does just enough to push his effort wide on the stretch. Actually, he pushes it away. It does not go all the way wide because So gets onto the loose ball on the edge of the box, but he curls a tame shot back at the Rangers keeper. Again, Eintracht had the good opportunities, especially early, to take the lead in this one. They were knocking at the door early, and it was interesting because I think they were annoyed by the Rangers supporters. I think they wanted to quiet them down, and I think this was proven in the penalty shootout because literally every single Frankfurt kicker that after he finished his penalty kick would do the shush sign to the Rangers supporters behind the goal. You don't usually see them do that every single time, but especially because the Rangers fans are not like rude or anything. They were just supporting their team. But I think the Eintracht players seemed a little more nervous. They noticed that they were outnumbered in the stadium. They noticed that the Rangers fans, I think, were making more noise. And at times, I think it got to them a little bit. In the 17th, Knopf has a run at Barisic down the right flank. He opens up his space for a strike, but his effort was blocked by the legs of the Rangers fullback. 3 minutes later, McGregor makes a big save, and he denies said Knopf, with a fine stop. The wingback surges down the right flank, has the space to cut inside and shoot on his left foot. His effort heads toward the bottom right corner, but again, McGregor acts to turn it past the post. Danger averted. 22nd minute, it's So afforded space and time to line up a strike from the edge of the Rangers box, but he curls his effort up and over the bar. 26th minute, and we have Wright going inches wide is the headline here on the FOTMOB, and it's Wright. He's caught late by Nadika, but the ball travels to Aribo, and the referee plays advantage. He allows advantage and allows play to continue. Aribo turns and fires that goal from 20 yards away, but he bends his effort just wide of Kevin Trapp's far post. And there was a lot of this in the first half, just a little bit. We hit that middle to late portion of the first half, and the match starts to even out. And Rangers start to get their own opportunities. However, 32nd minute, a poor header from Tavernier allows Kostic to break down the left flank. He has options in the final third, but goes for the strike on his left foot instead, and he drags it wide. And I thought he rushed this one. I thought Kostic was running at good pace, but again, football is such a game of inches, as we say. He was running down the center left channel, almost in the dead center channel. And really what he needed to do was to get his body in front of the back pressing Rangers defender. And that ball needed to go on his right foot, and he needed to head towards the center with it to keep the body position and to keep the angle to shoot on goal. What he did instead was he tried to do it on pace. He took too heavy of a touch off his left foot. It went slightly out into the left center channel. And then before he could catch up to the ball, that angle had just closed. And he ends up reaching for it rather than running into it, stepping into his shot. Because he had to reach, he hooked it too far wide. It goes past Aiden McGregor to the goalkeeper's left, goes wide, no trouble. Really a squandered opportunity. But again, Kostic in the middle of the action, always there. He was all over the pitch tonight. He was on the ball, doing so many good things, helping the German side, accomplish things in this match, helping them get set up, helping them find their offensive opportunities. In the 36th, So brings Kent down, on a run down the left, and he hands Rangers a free kick in a useful position. Leads to a big save as Barisic floats a dangerous cross into the area for Lundstrom to attack. He nods the effort towards the top right corner, but Kevin Trapp is alert, and he's there to tip it up and over the bar. We move to the 43rd. Tavernier once again escapes a booking for pulling down Lundstrom here on the left flank after losing possession. Frankurt, a build-up play down the right flank here, and it's Knopf again, or Knopf. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I have to admit, I'm going to admit straight out, these are two of the teams in Europe I am least familiar with. I'm not that familiar with these two teams. I've only really seen them play in this Europa League in these late stages. I've seen my share of Bundesliga matches, but I only realize as I'm watching this match today how little I've seen of Eintracht Frankfurt and how little I've seen of Glasgow Rangers this season. So again, if I'm mispronouncing these names, I do apologize. These are not two teams that are in my normal viewing habits. Perhaps they should be, though. Again, Tavernier, he escapes the booking, as we said, because advantage is allowed to play on. But then Knopf sees his cross diverted behind for a corner. 6 minutes of added time in the first half. So we did have an injury early on. One of the Frankfurt players did have a cut on his head. It took quite a while to get the wound dressed, to get the bandage around his head. They had to put a new jersey on him. They had to wipe all the blood off. So we get 6 minutes of stoppage time. In the second minute of stoppage time, an effort goes over. Jack collects and offload from Aribo from the right flank and has space to fire a drive at goal, but he sends his effort over the top. 45th +4 now, and Frankfurt press down the left flank to win a corner, but the Germans manage to clear the Rangers. This is a note I've never seen them abbreviated as Gers. The Gers manage to clear their lines from Kostic's outswinging cross into the box before Kent robs Tuta to quell the threat, and danger once again averted, and shortly thereafter referee blows for halftime. The referee in this match, I didn't mention it. It is Slavko Vincinic of Slovenia. He's the referee. You could hear him during the coin flips before the extra time and before the penalty shootout, speaking very clear, very easy to understand English. We move to the second half now, and we don't get, let's see, it's a goalless draw at the break, in this Europa League final between Eintracht Frankfurt and Rangers. The German outfit have had the best of the chances, but Alan McGregor was always on point. And at the other end, Rangers had a couple of half chances of their own as Joe Aribo fired wide from distance, while John Lundstrom saw his effort turned over the bar. The game is very much in the balance at the interval. Frankfurt seemed more settled out of the two sides before Rangers found their way towards the end of the half. Like I said, as the first half went on, the match began to really start to even out a bit, and Rangers started to get their share of the opportunities. In the second half now, we're going to go. It's close here. In the 49th minute, it is Lidstrom collecting at the edge of the box, turns and fires that goal. The ball deflects off Camara and travels towards goal with McGregor beaten, but it trickles agonizingly wide to the target. There's shouts for a penalty in the 52nd minute. Boré breaks into the box after latching onto a flick from Kamada. He goes down under pressure from Goldson. The referee points only for a corner. Again, this is where I get very, very annoyed by the commentary team, by the broadcasters. This is coming from the World Feed. This is not CBS. This is not Paramount Plus. They're just airing it. Again, because it was in favor of Eintracht, I think they dismissed this penalty very easily and, to be honest, dishonestly. I know how the British press and British fans prefer to see the game refereed, and I've heard the argument before that if we start allowing these kind of penalties, we're going to go back to the days where everything's a penalty. Listen, a foul is a foul. It doesn't matter that it's a final. It doesn't matter that it occurs. The same rules apply in the penalty area that apply in the center circle. The laws of the game do not specify that something that is a foul in the middle third is suddenly perfectly fine in the penalty area. They have this thing against calling penalties, and they want the referees to let everything go. And you can have matches where you have absolute maulings, and they want to let it all go because it's a final, and you don't want the referee to be a factor. But a referee, by going so out of his way to not be a factor, his or her way to not be a factor, is in fact a factor, because the match is no longer being refereed honestly. It's being managed, and it's not the referee's match. It's not the referee's job to manage the match. It's the referee's job to call what happens, not to set a narrative. This was a penalty for me. Again, yeah, maybe it's a little harsh, but penalties are harsh. There's no such thing as a penalty that's not harsh. And again, it's a match of inches. Football is decided by millimeters sometimes. And in this age of VAR, I don't know how this is not called a penalty. This is the problem with VAR, is that it's very inconsistently applied through different countries, through different leagues. Because there's plenty of places on planet Earth, and I watch football in a lot of different places. I don't just watch the Big Five. A lot of people make a mistake where they just watch the Big Five leagues, and even more people watch only the Premier League. I'm going to be honest with you, because this type of argument comes from that sector that watch only the Premier League, say not enough in it for a penalty. That's not how the laws of the game are written. That's not how the match should be refereed. That's my opinion. There's plenty of places on planet Earth, not named England, not named Scotland, not named even Germany, where that is a penalty. When you watch football from every corner of the world, the VAR and the laws of the game are always applied differently. There's a cultural aspect, and it's irresponsible of the broadcasters when you're doing a world feed. You're not just broadcasting to your home audience in your country. It is a world feed that goes out to the entire English-speaking world. You have a responsibility to be more honest. You have a responsibility to be more transparent, and not only see the game through the prism of what you like and what you're used to. This should have been a penalty kick. Moving on. A bunch of goals just got scored in Copa Libertadores. Again, that episode comes on Friday. Moving on to one of the key moments of the match. It's the 57th minute, And it is Aribo firing Rangers in front 1-0. We get the goal. The Scottish side strike first in the Europa League Final as Aribo beats Trapp following a bad mistake by Tuta. Thought it was So, but apparently it's Tuta according to this. The Frankfurt defender slips after So heads the ball back towards his own goal. So it was two mistakes. So Jabril So headed the ball back towards him, and then Tuta falls. He slips. Actually, the replay shows it looks like he tripped over his own. One leg tripped over the other. He caught himself with his trail leg, and it took him down, allowing Joe Aribo to come in. But credit to Joe Aribo, lots of composure in front of goal, running at pace, and he picks out the corner. He slots it in. Rangers go ahead. Now, I know at this point I've got the bet that this is going to be both teams are going to score. So I needed goals. I needed both teams to score anyway. I'm not getting nervous about the order in which they score. And even better is that I need them to score in the second half so I could hit two of those bets. And one has scored. And I just had a sense of calm and a sense of assurance that Frankfurt were going to answer because they are that type of team. And I don't expect anything less from a German football club. I love the mentality and the methodology and just the philosophy of German football and the way that they play. And they do not quit. They play to the very last second, and they're never out of anything. That's why I'm very excited that my own club is getting a German manager. It was announced today. Roger Schmidt, welcome. That's off the topic. But anyway, substitution in the 59th minute. On comes Makoto Hasibi. He replaces Tuta. And right away, Frankfurt are going for it. Eintracht are going for it. They get a chance early, right after. It's the 60th minute. It's Borre. He keeps a deep cross from Kostic alive in the Rangers box. And Lidstrom collects at the edge of the penalty area. He shoots first time, but Bassi puts his body in line to divert it wide. There are appeals for a penalty again for a handball. It struck the Rangers defender right in the chest. I got no issue with that. Obviously, it hits him in the chest. That's not a penalty. I'm fair, okay? What's a penalty is a penalty. I'm not looking for a penalty where it doesn't exist. Shouts for penalty usually are just an emotional reaction, especially if a team is losing. The shouts are even louder. That's just the way it always falls. You're looking for anything to change your momentum and to get your team turned around, to get your team going in the right direction once again. Okay. Joe Aribo sees a yellow card in the 62nd minute. We move forward now to the 69th, and here comes the equalizer, the former River Plate man, the Colombian, Rafael Santos Borre. He equalizes for Frankfurt, and the German side are back in the match. He pounces at the near post. Kostic delivers a dangerous cross from the left flank that drifts between Goldson and Bassi. Borre is in the right spot, sticks out his right foot to fire past McGregor into the bottom right corner. 1-1 in the 69th minute. In the 71st, on comes Jans Peter Hage. For Eintracht, he replaces Jesper Lindstrom. Rangers make a couple substitutions in the 74th. On comes Stephen Davis. Off comes Ryan Jack. I guess I can't blame Ryan Jack. I don't know who missed that shot anymore. I thought it was him. I'll get to it when we get to the extra time, of course. And Fascion Sakala replaces Scott Wright. Let's move into extra time now. There is one more substitution for Frankfurt. Christian Jakic comes on. Sebastian Rode goes off. At the start of extra time, Scott Arnfield replaces Glenn Kamara. And we get a chance in the 95th. We're in extra time already. Bassi loses out to Borre, and the forward breaks into the left right-hand channel, goes for goal from a tight angle, but Bassi gets back to divert his effort behind on the stretch. Aribo tries a burst past Hasibi in the Frankfurt box, but the defender holds firm, wins back possession, and sees it out of danger. We get a substitution in the 101st minute. Each team makes a substitution here. For Eintracht, Christopher Lons comes on for Evan Ndika, and for Rangers, James Sands replaces the goal scorer, Joe Aribo. Moving forward, again, halftime comes. Little to talk about in the first half of extra time. Another substitution. You get a lot of substitutions in modern football. 5 plus an additional one in extra time. Hrustic, I believe he's Australian. Um, yeah, the 25-year-old Australian agent Hrustic comes on. Jabril So is off for Eintracht Frankfurt. And Hrustic has an effort from the edge of the Rangers box in the 107th, but he places it just wide. McGregor was flat-footed and beat on that one, but the ball did not find the back of the goal. The save in the 113th minute, Kent is played into space 25 yards from goal, rifles a left-footed shot towards target. But once again, Kevin Trapp makes a save. And again, Frankfurt stay level thanks to this fantastic goalkeeper they have. Jakic latches on to a cutback from Hrustic in the 114th, and he fires a goal from distance. This effort has McGregor worried, but it sails narrowly over the bar. Another substitution, double substitution. Keep this one in mind. Managers just do not learn. Giovanni von Bronckhorst clearly was not watching the FA Cup final this past weekend. He makes the same mistakes here that Thomas Tuchel made. He makes the same mistakes. I feel like every time I cover a final, one of the managers does this, and he brings on a cold player to take a penalty, essentially. Remember this name, Aaron Ramsey, former Arsenal standout, played also at Juventus. Now he's at Rangers, the Wales international. He replaces Fashion Sakala, and once again, it's a substitute that was substituted on, once again being pulled off just a little while later, because again, it's an overcompensation for mismanaging your penalty takers. That's exactly what Von Bronckhorst is doing here. It's the same thing Tuchel did on Saturday. So Sakala had just come on. He's off again. And Kamar Roof comes on to replace Borna Barisic. So those substitutions are made with penalties already in mind. But in the 118th, it's the save I've been talking about since the beginning of the episode tonight. Kevin Trapp, he makes the save. Roof latches onto a ball over the top. He cuts across back to Kent. It was Kent who got on the end of it, and Kent is wide open in the middle. He connects well with his strike, but Trapp sticks his leg out, denies the winger before Davis fires the rebound over the bar. That is the last thing we see. We do get another chance from Tavernier, but it's well over the wall, and Trapp gets it across to make a comfortable save. Referee blows his whistle for full time at 120 plus 1. And we had 2 penalties. All right, I'll sum this up quickly for you. Up first, James Tavernier. He scores. He's up first for Rangers. Up first for Eintracht Frankfurt is Christopher Lons. He finishes. Very good penalty kick from Lons. Tavernier went up the middle, and Trapp dove just slightly. Trapp made the same dive that he made on the penalty that he saved. He kind of dove to his right, but left his leg back. But Tavernier went just enough to Trapp's left to Trapp's left to beat him. Up second, Stephen Davis for Rangers. He makes it 2-1, finding the top right corner. Agent Hrustic is next. The Australian sends his left-footed strike into the bottom left corner, 2-2. Round 3, it's Scott Arnfield. He dispatches his effort with power past Trapp in the top left corner. This was a beautiful penalty kick in front of the Rangers supporters. Like I said, every time an Eintracht player took his penalty, he then shushed the crowd after scoring. Every time a Rangers player converted his penalty, he fired up the crowd some more. Interestingly, now they get it that there are two coin flips before these penalty shootouts, and the captain for Eintracht Frankfurt was let me get his name again. The captain for Eintracht Frankfurt was was Kamada, and I don't think he understood. I don't think he understood what the referee was doing, because he took the first flip, and he thought that they were picking, when they picked the side. I think the first flip actually was for the shooter. Not sure right now. Can't remember exactly. But he actually had to stop the referee, and he had to ask him to clarify what they just called heads or tails on, because he flipped it again. So it was interesting, and I thought for a minute I was nervous for him, because it looked like he wasn't really sure what was going on there, and he looked concerned. I thought that the Eintracht players looked more concerned than the Rangers players in the penalty shootout. Rangers had the advantage of going first. Rangers won both coin flips. They won to decide to shoot first or second, and they won to decide which end they were going to kick at. Obviously, they chose to kick at the end where their supporters were sitting. Really, everything was there for Rangers to win this one. But, said Captain Daichi Kamada, he stepped up third for Eintracht Frankfurt, and he takes a penalty that is so perfect it nearly missed. I mean, he kissed it off the post with such power. It was such a well-taken penalty, but another centimeter or two, it would have clanked off the post and come back out. But there was no way any goalie was going to save that. 3-3, and up steps Aaron Ramsey, a late substitute. He played only 3 minutes in this match. Normally, he's probably a good penalty taker. That's why you sub him in. But how many times in these finals do we see a situation where, first of all, the player that misses the key penalty or a key penalty is a guy you think is automatic? It is a big name. Again, go back to Saturday. Sadio Mane, who has won how many shootouts with his decisive penalty, where he's been the player that has celebrated the win. He had the chance again last Saturday. This time he missed. Here, Aaron Ramsey stepping up, and he's cold. I don't care how much you warmed up. I don't agree with bringing on these players this late in matches. If you got penalties in your mind, and you got a guy that you want to get him on in extra time. Let him get 15 to 20 minutes at the very least. He's got to get into a rhythm. No, they send him on with 3 minutes to play, and Aaron Ramsey takes an absolutely pitiful penalty. Goes down the middle. Kevin Trapp dives to his right, leaves his leg in the middle, and he stretches it out and saves it with his leg. And Rangers now behind the 8 ball. Filip Kostic steps up, takes another brilliant penalty. He puts Frankfurt ahead, squeezing his effort past the hand of McGregor. Shooting fifth for Rangers is Kamar Roof. He has to score to keep the shootout going. He fires his strike off the inside left post. He does the same thing that Kamada did a few rounds earlier, except he goes to the other post. And up to decide the match is the goal scorer from regular time. The hero, he was also a hero in the semifinals, Rafael Santos Borre, the Colombian. Wins the Europa League with a precise strike in the top left corner. There was no way anyone was going to save that. He holds his composure under pressure, and the fans rejoice. And the overwhelming majority of the fans in the stadium are dismayed. They are crushed, and you can see the tears on the players, on the supporters. Very, very tough pill to swallow. The most cruel way to lose a final is in a penalty shootout. And I think the most exhilarating way to win a final is in a penalty shootout. I've been on both ends of those in my life and in my career. I can tell you, we have a proverb in Portuguese, and in Portuguese we say a cara de ganhar não é mesmo a cara de perder não é mesmo de ganhar. Translate to English is the loser's face is not the same as the winner's. The same exact, chances, the same exact odds. One team is going to win, one's going to lose, and it changes the whole perception of how the experience of the penalty shootout. But that does it. Yeah. That is your 2021-2022 Europa League, and it is Eintracht Frankfurt. Congratulations. They have won. They've lifted the trophy, won the Europa League, and they're off to the UEFA Champions League. I believe they go right into the group stage as a seeded team, which he's going to throw somebody out of that number one pot and into the second pot. I'm sure we'll get into that when next season comes around, next European season, and we start to talk about the draw for the next edition of the UEFA Champions League. And that's going to do it for this episode of Parking the Bus. Thank you for sticking with me tonight. You're watching when you could be watching the Copa Libertadores, you could be watching Major League Soccer, you could be watching the NBA Western Conference Finals that tip off, they're probably tipped off by the time you've seen this. So thank you again for everybody watching. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot me a DM. You can DM the show on Twitter at PTB_media. You can follow me also. You can hit me up personally if you want. That's my Twitter handle right there on the screen, at Mike Agostinho, at MikeAgostinho. And don't forget, check out www.parkingthebusmedia.com. Just give me a couple hits. I'm going to start putting some written content up there as well. I'm going to start working on that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, or to the Parking the Bus channel on YouTube, the PTV Media Network on YouTube. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button down there and hit that little bell. I really want to try to build the YouTube following. I have not focused on that yet in the life of this podcast. I focus very much on the audio and on the Twitter audience, which is a little bit more is a bit more of my audience. It's more of the people I interact with more regularly. I don't think there'll be a Parking the Bus episode tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to do a Mr. Benfica episode. I've been putting that off long enough. I got to get that done tomorrow. But I will be back Friday. We're going to talk Copa Libertadores. We're going to talk Copa Sudamericana. Okay. And I'll be back after that. I got a couple of episodes to do. Don't forget, Saturday we've got big matches as well. We've got the women's UEFA Champions League final on Saturday. That's going to be exciting. A lot of great things, a lot of great football coming. Plus, we got Major League Soccer. They're in full swing. They're playing tonight. They'll be back at it again on the weekend. Liga MX playoffs. They kick off the semifinals tonight. On Friday, I may have a separate Liga MX playoffs show, or I'll have one drop early Saturday morning to get you ready for the second legs. The first second leg will be on Saturday. The second will be on Sunday. So I'll catch you all up to speed on that. That's what it looks like for the rest of the week here on the Parking the Bus podcast. Thank you for watching. I am your host, the Mr. Mike Agostinho. So everyone listening to the podcast form in audio, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can subscribe on Castbox as well. I'm finding that it's posting episodes days after I put them out. For some reason, that one platform is very slow at putting them out. But it's on a lot of platforms now at this point. Just look in your favorite one. If you don't see it, go over to www.parkingthebusmedia.com. You can listen to it right in the podcast player there if you don't want to watch the video. Thank you. I'll see you next time here on the Parking the Bus podcast. Have a good night, everybody, and enjoy whatever football you're going to be watching. There's more topics to talk about, of course. Again, just follow the Twitter at PTB_media, and I'll keep you updated to when the next show will drop. Good night, everybody.